Bag J is now mostly complete. That involved the engine mount and the front clip mount. I'd also include putting the throttle servo in and the throttle linkage, but from what I can tell, all that stuff, stock parts, are going to be dumped and replaced with Taylor. I'll do that at a later time. The only issue I really had was on this front clip, up on the bottom there, those four countersunk screws. The two bottom ones, I had to run a 5mm bottoming tap down in there to clean up the thread. That was a little bit issue on the Taylor differential housing, but no big deal. You want to tap through there, vacuum it out, clear it out, and just reassemble the Loctite. So I believe bag L is going to be next. All in all, it seems to be going together pretty well. I probably am going to have to modify my stand over here to accept it. I know it fits the LSE okay, but I'm going to have to do something on the bottom of it to accommodate some changes there. Turns out I do not need to modify the stand. It actually fits up under a wall. It's pretty well balanced and shiny too. Green and black seem to be a good combination. I did when I got these full force covers, I was didn't really like them at first because I was used to the outer wears like the LSE has. It has the Velcro attachment. But once I install these things, they actually go on there pretty good. They're a little stretchy material. You just got to stretch them out and they slide over top there, and they're like socks. And I couldn't find this kind of color with the outerwear, so that's why I wanted the full force initially. But all in all, I'm actually really happy with them. When I first seen them, I was not very happy with them, but it changed, and it's definitely a cool color combination. And I'm going to do the body with some of that similar green Proline paint, and I think I'm going to put some pink accents, pink stripes or something like that in there, because I need some really bright colors because I'm half blind trying to drive these things, and I'm going to be out in a pretty wide open area. So I'm going to need something bright that I can see where the thing actually is. So bag M and bag N are now assembled, and it was the wheels, the bead locks, and nothing unusual there. But now this whole kit with all these molded parts, machine parts, at least one looks like cast part, I found a flaw, one whole flaw, which is pretty impressive. And all it is looks like they had a little bit of an incomplete fill in their mold, in their injection mold or something like that. So pretty impressive, this whole kit, and that's the only flaw I find. So in the point now where I'm starting to tie up some loose ends on the assembly here, at this point I'm working on the throttle linkage and the throttle servo. I'm going to try an 845 high-tech in here. I'm going to be running with a Spectrum receiver, I think it's 6200. The high-tech, I got these from DDM, and the nice thing about DDM is they include in servo arms. I mean, high-tech supplies some plastic ones, but DDM supplies much better aluminum ones. So that being said, it looks like the only thing I got to really swap out, Taylor supplies this 440 threaded rod and the ball connector. The ball connector goes over onto the linkage on the wall bro, and then once you're done with that, looks like that's the only change you really got to make is you got to eliminate the stock throttle linkage, but all the other stuff looks like it's going to be used. I'm guessing we'll put this in a hacksaw because it looks a little on the long side, so I'm guessing that's just a standard off-the-shelf 440 rod. So other than that, those look like there's a lot of changes between whether it was a Zenoa or a Taylor. One thing to note on this attachment of the Taylor throttle parts is that linkage on the wall bro, the hole's too small for what Taylor supplies. You see, we'll have to drill that out. The problem is unless you have a right angle drill, you're not going to get in there without either pulling the shock or pulling the engine out. So maybe something to note if you ever do one of these, to drill it ahead of time. So I did end up red Loctiting that those brass screws together. It's kind of a tight area to get into, so I don't want that falling off. And there really wasn't enough room for any lock washes on there, so hopefully that's in the right position. So I got the high-tech throttle servo in, and the rod's in there. I don't have nothing attached yet, but I can see I'm going to have to put a little bit of a compound bend on it to make sure I can clear the bottom of the cylinder. And I might have to put some sort of a spacer to get the height up. I'll have to do something on the lathe to get that up to give a spacer. So over here on the throttle, I got this AG FRC 5th scale servo. Fits in there well, and it comes with these 2 servo horns. I'm using a single on the steering, so I'm going to snag the push-pull one and put it over here on this high-tech and replace it with that DDM one. I definitely prefer these split clamps. They just seem more reliable than just the single screw through the middle. So both the steering and throttle servos are set in there now, in position. I did have to put a compound bend on that throttle linkage so it would clear everything down through there. But other than that, it fits good. I didn't have to do anything here with just spacing it up. I am using that AG FRC push-pull servo horn on the throttle one, and over here I'm just sticking with the single. I don't see any point going to dual servos. The one thing is the AG FRC there, they give you a 3mm hole in the horn, which is fine on the throttle, but it ain't on the steering. It's forced. I got to open that up. And oh yeah, that thing, they're moving. So there's some fine tuning, and nothing's tightened down yet. I was moving some wires on before. I'm like, what the hell's going on with this? And then it finally sank in, and when I did the binding, I put the AG, or the AVC is still on in this thing, so gives you an idea how quick those gyroscopes respond. That'll be tuned down or eliminated eventually, but I do like having it on a little bit on the steering to help for my poor driving. So I definitely gonna have an issue with the receiver and the battery. That box, that's just crazy. So I got a 3D model put together on Inventor, and I'm be 3D printed out of carbon fiber reinforced nylon. And I'm gonna stick it down in this corner here, and just the receiver in there. I'll have to make an extension cable to run out of there into the switch and here. And I'm probably gonna leave the triac board for the kill switch in this, and the LED light out of that. So right now I'm just kind of speccing out the printer, and once I get that in there, I'll start building that. So I'm on a little bit of a hold as far as that goes, but other than finding a few details in the painting and stuff like that, it's getting pretty close. The weather's going to eliminate running it for a little while. So the body panels have been drilled and set. Anyone who's feeling nauseous today or squeamish, you might want to look away now, because that's going to be the color scheme I'm going to use. The body's going to be mostly that, and I'm going to have some with this purple and then some pink striping in there in spots. It's got its new hat on. It's a piece of diamond plate. There's a little bit of a bow in there and a little bit of curve around there. I was going to put a wing coming up the back. I may still weld one on there, but I don't know. I kind of like it without the wing on there. So let's get a little better weather. I'm going to put the spray paint on it. Well, it's getting there, so I'd call this the end of part 3.